Hi there YouTube, this is Aisha and this is going to be a book review for Letting Go by Maya Banks, which is book 1 in the Surrender Trilogy. Now when they told me this, I've been eyeballing this series in the bookstore for a few weeks because I'm a huge Maya Banks fan and I've been a fan since the Coulter series. And I just love her writing. I have all her books on ebook. And I was like, yes, I'll definitely take this because the third book is coming out in August. And I'm so excited. So Letting Go is book 1 in the Surrender Trilogy. And this starts off with Jocelyn, who is a widow. And she has mourned her husband's passing for the past 3.5 years. And now she's decided it's time. It's time to move on. It's time to get from life what she wants. Because she knows her husband wouldn't be happy to see her sitting in a house, being afraid to go out. So she begins to embrace the life that she's always wanted, and one of the things that she's always wanted but could never ask her husband for. And she decides to tell her best friends before she goes because she wants them to not worry about her, as well as to, as kind of a way to request some help from her best friend Chessie, who is in the lifestyle that she's looking to gain entrance into. She did her research before she brought it to her friends, and she also knows that she needed to talk to her second best friend Kylie, who is her husband's sister, and who's been one of her best friends since they started dating. And she needed her friend to know that she was moving on, and there's nothing worse than finding out from someone else that the person is moving on. So she wanted to let them know from her. On the anniversary of her husband's death, she normally goes to the cemetery with his best friend Dean, and Dean comes to get her, and he knows that something's different about Joss because normally she wears all black and she's got the mourning face on, but this time she's dressed like a regular lady, like in jeans and a t-shirt, and she's relaxed and she's a little more upbeat. Um, and they go and everything has changed and he now knows that she's ready. Dean has been in love with Jocelyn since before she married his best friend, and he never made a move because he knew she and his best friend belonged together, but he's always loved her. And now that his best friend's been gone for 3 years, it's clear that Joss is ready to move on. He's going to make his move. So Dean goes to um, say goodbye one last night, one last hurrah to his favorite place and to think. And when he's there, in walks Jocelyn, and he just loses it. The first half of this book, the first 150 pages, laid down the foundation for the rest of the trilogy. So we were introduced to all the characters and we kind of learned a little bit about them, about their background. We learned a lot about Jocelyn and about Dean, and there was a lot of talking, like a super amount of talking. And I know that's necessary, particularly because of the lifestyle that she's attempting to enter into, that she needs to ask questions and talk. But I was like, get to the fun stuff! Because I've read Maya Banks for years, and I know that she can write some seriously good scenes. So I was just dying for her to get to the good scenes. But she built up the story really wonderfully and really well and laid the groundwork for the next 2 books in the novel, in this trilogy, and made you fall in love with each character and make you want to hear their stories. I was super, super excited to meet Chessie, and I can't wait to read her story, hers and Tate's. And then we meet Kylie, and I wanted to bitch slap Kylie a couple of times because she like really went at Joss. Like, I was totally in Joss's corner. Like, I'm not gonna mourn my dead husband for the rest of my life. That's not fair. I'm a young woman. It would have been one thing if we'd been married for 50 years and I'm like in my 80s and cool, but I'm a young woman and he's passed on, and it's not fair to demand that I stay in stasis so that you can feel comfortable. That's not how shit rolls. So I was totally in Joss's corner. I loved her for standing by her guns and being willing to move on and to embrace life. And even if she didn't expect the perfection that she had with her husband who's dead, you know, she was willing to seek out something to feel comforted again. And I loved the story that developed. I loved the emotional growth and the growth of the characters. Some of the conversations had me cracking up. Some of the scenes made me laugh. There's a few scenes that made me tear up. But there, well, like a tear will gather in the corner of my eye. Um, Especially when they were talking about things. And then, of course, there's always a shenanigans that takes place that puts the couple in question in crisis and put the story in a bind that makes you think you won't get a happily ever after, and then she works it out, but it's not quite the way you think it was going to happen. And I love Maya for that. She always gives you a good twist and a good kick in the pants. There's a lot of lessons in here. There's a lot of stuff in here that made me laugh. I really enjoyed meeting the characters, the friendships of the women in this trilogy. Because I'll admit, I've read the trilogy already. Um, I read the third book as an arc. The storyline, the women were extremely amazing, and that was the backbone for the story. Like, the stories have a lot of love in them, like a love of characters and the love friendships, but the friendships between the girls are what are most important. It really is what spins the story, and it's the women exploring themselves, their friendships, the bounds of themselves that gives them the strength to explore everything else. They're so comfortable with these women and being able to share, and I love that. The only tiny pickle in there was Kylie's behavior a couple of times where she thought it was okay to just run off at the mouth. She apologized, but we all know, just like those memes that go around Facebook about dropping a plate and then putting it back together, you might put it back together and it might look okay, but it's still cracked, it's still been broken. Um, so Kylie has said some stuff that made me not really like her. So when I went into the second book, it took a little while to get to like her, but I am in love with this book and I gave it 5 stars. Like, as I said, the first half took a little while because she's world building and she's giving you the story and giving you the people, and giving you a background so that you get to know them really well. But the other half, oh my god, what a story. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Good Maya Banks writing. Um, I just love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Although, is that an orchid? Is that supposed to be an orchid? I have no idea what the hell is on the front. This one's the only one that I can't tell. But I really enjoyed this, and I highly recommend it. If you haven't tried the Surrender trilogy, I suggest you do. It starts off with letting go. The next one is giving in. And then the third and final one is taking it all, which is Chess's story, which culminates the trilogy. And I cannot wait to own it and have it sitting on the shelf next to my Maya Banks books. These are wonderful to read, and I highly recommend them. Leave it down below if you've read the trilogy, if you're anticipating the third book, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!